Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another week of our online learning. I hope you all had a great week last week, and I hope you have a good one this week as well. Hope you're all staying safe and healthy during this time. I know it's a very new experience for all of us, but hope we're all trying to stay positive during it. This week, our topic is on media and the internet, and we're going to be talking about things like our digital footprint and our digital trail, also known as our digital environment, and getting into the specifics of all of that stuff and how we should be aware of what we put on the internet and how people have access to all of that. So, first things first is everybody can Google your name, and you need to be aware of that. And most of the time, if you have any online accounts, there are going to be searches that come up. And one of our assignments this week, you have to Google your name. So if you haven't already done that before, you're going to get a chance to do that. And if you have, this will be another chance for you to get reacquainted with what is on the internet about you. So when you Google your name, you put in your full name. So for me, it would be Ashton Hare. And for you guys, you'll put in your whole name. And then you hit enter and you can see what comes up. So usually social media accounts come up. But one thing that's really important to double check is the images, just to see what comes up for your name. Some people, if you have a really common name, you're going to need to put maybe your city as well. I don't have a common name. There's not very many results with my name. It starts to get into people who have the same last name but a different first name. And so it's important for you to check and be aware of what comes up when you do that search. So your digital footprint it discovers where you have been and what you're doing, and it's not easily washed away. So for example, when you search up my name and you go to images, there's two pictures that are me. One is a social media profile picture and the other is a grad picture from St. Thomas. And I absolutely hate the picture. And the account that it is from is a Weebly account that I had to make when I was in university. And the website has been deleted, but the picture remains on the internet, even though the website that it originated from is gone. And so even though I have tried to delete that image from history and make it so that people who look me up can't see it because I just think it's hideous, it's there and it's going to be there forever, and I just have to live with that. So you might experience the same thing. Maybe there's a picture that you don't like or that you're embarrassed by or that will haunt you. And so you want to be aware of what is on the internet and what people can look up about you. So then we have digital trail, and that's left by your digital footprint. It's information collected. And this is where you really want to make sure you protect your reputation. So digital trail, we're going to get into, but it's everything that's under digital footprint. So digital footprint is everything that can be easily found about you, and digital trail is everything specific that you use technology-wide. So your digital footprint determines how people see you and treat you. So know who is examining your footprint and take charge of where it leads them. So if you're applying for university or a job, or you meet a new friend, or you have a relationship prospect, all of these people can Google you or look you up on social media. And so the image you portray or that they're going to think about you comes from their initial Google search. Think about yourself. When you meet someone new, the first thing you do is go to their social media and you look them up to see what you can find out about them. So you're doing that to people. People are also going to be doing that to you. So you want to know what they're seeing when they do this. You want to make sure that you control the narrative of what people see, because you want to make sure it's all positive things and it is things that you are comfortable with people seeing and an image that you want to portray to the world. So our digital environment or a digital trail, they're kind of the same thing. That includes every post on every social media, any image that you send through text, messenger, any app, any Google search you've ever made, any online purchase you've ever made, any security camera you've ever been on in a store or on a street, any website you've ever logged into or created an account for, any purchase you've ever made with a bank card or a credit card. All of these things contribute to your digital environment, which is your digital trail. All of this stuff doesn't go away. and it all just stays on databases and servers. And so you need to be aware that all of this stuff that we don't think about people having access to, and maybe no one will ever try and access yours, but they also have the ability to access it, and you want to make sure that if it ever was accessed, that it wouldn't alter your life. So it is really important to know that the information just doesn't go away. Everything that we just talked about on that past list, all your posts on social media, all your purchases, every account you've ever made, every Google search you've ever done is all on databases and servers. All of it stays, all of it's kept, and none of it goes away. Even if you deleted the post, remember, like I said, I deleted that website a long time ago because it was only for a school project. I didn't really ever want to see the light of day. It was just something we had to do in our education program, and I deleted it as soon as the program was done. But that image still stays on Google Images, and it's just a grad photo that I don't like. But imagine if it was a picture that could hurt you from getting a job or from making a new friend if they were offended by it. Make sure that you know that deleted posts and even Snapchats that go away in 10 seconds, they're still kept on a server and they can still be found. And it's usually forgotten about until someone goes looking, and then it can ruin your life. Think about people who are celebrities and they are having issues now with people looking back 10 years into their old tweets and seeing something that they said that wasn't socially acceptable or politically correct, and then they get dragged and have a negative image, and all because of something they said 10 years ago, which, yes, they shouldn't have said in the first place, but most of the time people change and people evolve and they don't believe the same things they said 10 years ago. If I'm kind of lucky because I grew up in high school, social media was just becoming a thing, so people didn't express every waking thought the way that they do now on the internet. And so you need to make sure that you're conscious about that, because I know some of the things that I would have said when I was 18, I wouldn't want resurfacing now that I'm 26, because I am a completely different person than I was then. I'm more educated and I'm more aware of the world. And when you're kids, you say things and just write stuff to get out aggression and anger, and you might not even mean it, and you don't want it coming back to haunt you. So the next big part of this whole digital footprint, digital environment is our privacy. And so privacy is the legal aspect of how our information is kept safe. So it's defined by law, and each country has privacy legislation, but in each country it's different. So one country might be more strict and it might be harder to access your information, but in another country it might be easier and less strict, and so people might access your information a little bit easier. So it depends on where you're from. And it protects your digital footprint and environment from being shared or stolen or sold or copied or altered. And so it's just trying to be an extra layer of protection that even though all of our messages and stuff can be accessed, the privacy law is just trying to make it so that it can't be done easily. But even though there is these laws in place, you still want to make sure that what you have on the internet and out there in the world is still something that if these laws were broken, that you would be okay with people accessing. So Canada's Privacy Act limits how federal government departments and agencies collect, use, and disclose personal information. They have the right to access information. So this is about government departments and agencies, and so think about like banks and stuff like that, and keeping all of your information safe. Then we have the Personal Information Protection and Electronic Documents Act, so PIPEDA. This is the ground rules for how private sector organizations may collect, use, or disclose your personal information. So that's more like apps, like Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all of that stuff. You want to make sure that you know that the private sector ones are like private companies. And so we have the right to access the information from both of these, from our government accounts as well as our private sector accounts that we have with those apps and stuff. You have the right to access that information, and these acts help keep your information safe. Next is the New Brunswick privacy is defined and protected with provincial government departments and agencies by the Protection of Personal Information Act and the Right to Information Act. So our information and everything is protected in New Brunswick, and it's important to know, though, that this only applies to businesses, organizations, and governments in Canada. So even with our Canadian Privacy Act, it only applies to things that are in Canada. And sadly, a lot of the things that we have access to in Canada originates from the United States. Being in North America, that's where a lot of our mainstream media, apps, and all of that stuff comes from. So we don't have the same privacy protection as people in America have because they're from America. But we still are protected through our Canada privacy protection, but you need to make sure about where the apps and everything come from. One example is TikTok. A lot of people have been talking about lately the privacy issues with it, because when you download an app, you sign the terms and conditions, which outlines everything that you're giving them access to. And most of the time, people admit to never ever reading those. And so the TikTok one, if it's downloaded on your phone, it has access to everything on your phone. Your texts, your search history, all of that stuff, because it's trying to create an algorithm to show you TikToks that you're also going to like. And so some people think it's absolutely ridiculous to have TikTok on your phone, but most people, including myself, I also have it. And so it's just making sure you're aware that all of that information that's on your phone is being stored in a database somewhere because you have this app on your phone. And so it's important to consider the implications of that. So this week was just a short little lesson on our digital footprint and environment, because it's easy to understand what they are. Our work this week is more so going to be in assessing our digital footprint and our environment and becoming aware of your own. I could sit here and talk about mine, but I'm very aware and have gone through my socials and stuff, especially when I was in university and moving towards teaching and becoming a teacher, because as you get older and as you become more in the professional world, you want to make sure that your social media and internet search that people come up with you is also something that you wouldn't mind professionals seeing. So you're going to have an assignment that helps you to look through all of yours. The first thing I want you to do, though, is watch a TED Talk on what do your digital footprints say about you. I have it posted in the same place that you got this link and our little message board. Then I want you to complete the 2 readings, Social Smarts and Privacy, and Gaming: Souls and Privacy. It's just going to give you more information about our footprint, our environment, and the privacy involved in those. Then you have 2 assignments, the Digital Footprint assignment and the Ethics of Free Speech assignment. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm here. Email me, message me on Teams. You know the drill. I hope you have an amazing week. Stay safe and healthy, and we'll have another lesson next week.